We should be live on YouTube now.
Amazing. Thank you very much. So again, thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Diego de la Hera. I'm the developer of Cita, Wikidata addon for Zotero that adds citations metadata support to Zotero, including citation graph visualization and back and forth synchronization with Wikidata. This extension has been developed with the help of a WikiCite grant from the Wikimedia Foundation. And this event has been organized with the help of Liam Wyatt, the program manager of WikiCite, and also Evelyn is helping me today, Evelyn Heidel, also known as Scan. The plan, oh, by the way, sorry, this event is gonna be held under the Wikimedia friendly space policies. And the plan for today includes a short introduction at the beginning, where I will talk about reference manager software and Wikidata for those who might not be familiar with this. I will then give a brief introduction of Cita and what you can, I will give a sample workflow of how you can work with Cita. Then I will go with a demonstration of about 15 minutes. We will go with an exercise for another 15 minutes, and then we will talk about the future of the project, and we will have a separate questions and answers session at the end. Anyway, between these sections, we will take maybe 1 or 2 questions for clarification if needed. Liam and Evelyn will be monitoring the chat and the YouTube channel for this. And finally, in the workshop page that you can find if you follow the link in the email that we sent you, and also at the YouTube description, you will find a link to the Cita page, and from the Cita page, you can go to the workshop page. You will find there some social media like hashtags or samples that you can use if you want to share your experiences here at the workshop. So I will get started. This extension, this Cita extension, is an extension for Zotero. So we will start with a short introduction of what Zotero is. Zotero is a reference management software, and these reference management softwares in general let us organize the metadata of the sources that we follow. So for example, I'm not talking about the text of the sources, like the content of the sources, but the data that describe these sources. So for example, the title, the name of the authors, what type of source this is. So for example, this is an example of a journal article, the publisher, the date when it was published, maybe some persistent identifiers like the DOI. So all this data is supported by Zotero. And here we see how this data is included in this information tab in the Zotero software. And this data can come in either manually, so the user would just type it, or it can also come automatically from sources such as Crossref or Wikidata, as we will discuss later. Now there is a special kind of metadata, which are the references. So the references down here are a special kind of metadata again, and thanks to some movements and projects such as the Initiative for Open Citations or the Open Citations project, this metadata, the references, that is information about which other sources a given source cites, is already available in repositories such as Crossref or Wikidata. Now, this is the second time that I mentioned Wikidata, so I think it's worth it saying a little bit about what it is for those who might not be familiar with it. So Wikidata is a knowledge base, is a knowledge graph that is collaboratively built. And when I say a graph or a network, I mean it has nodes. And each of these nodes refers to an object, a concept, or a topic. So for example, in Wikidata, we have a node for Argentina. We have a node for Buenos Aires. We also have a node for the Spanish language, and we also have a node for West Iberian languages. Now, these nodes, each of them are identified by an ID. So for example, Argentina has the ID Q414, or Buenos Aires, the Q1486. And these nodes are connected to each other through properties. So for example, Argentina has a property which is capital, and the object of that property is Buenos Aires. Or for example, Argentina has another property. It has the official language property, and that property is pointing to Spanish, another node in the network. And Spanish also has properties. So for example, it has the subclass property, which points to the West Iberian languages node. Now, in Wikidata, we also have nodes for bibliographic entities. So for example, these nodes here refer to journal articles. This one down here, for example, is an article by this author published in 2017. And this node also has properties. So for example, it has the author property that points to this node about the author, or it has this published in property, which points to this journal. Now, and this is the most important thing for this workshop, bibliographic elements, some of them, also have a property, which is the cites work property. And this property points to other bibliographic elements in the network. So for example, this work has a cites work property that points to this other journal article, this node for this other journal article in the network. And in this workshop, we will refer to this first node as the citing item, this second node as the cited item, and this relationship between both nodes through the cites work property as a citation. And of course, one bibliographic element, such as this one here, can have one or more of these properties. Usually sources have more than one citation. So for example, here it has this other cites work property, this other cites work statement pointing to this other node. Now, Wikidata, as bibliographic, Wikidata is a lot of things, but Wikidata as a bibliographic repository is incomplete, just like any other bibliographic repository, but it has the advantage that it is collaborative. That means that we can help make it better and make it more complete, and also that it has a much wider scope than many other bibliographic repositories. So for example, I was talking about Crossref before. Crossref only includes items with DOIs, whereas Wikidata includes other kind of items, such as maybe books, which might not have a DOI, or very old publications, which don't have a DOI either. So going back to this slide, I was talking about references as a special kind of metadata. Is this metadata as well supported by reference management softwares, such as the title or the author or the published in fields are supported? And the answer is no. This citations metadata has a very limited support in reference management softwares. And this is where Cita comes in. So Cita is this extension for Zotero that I developed with this WikiCite grant from the Wikimedia Foundation. And this is what you will learn to do today. We will start with a list of items in your Zotero library. We have basic metadata about these items. Again, we have the title, the name of the authors, etc. We will learn how to add citations information to this item. And we will learn how to do this both manually by hand or also automatically retrieving information from Wikidata. We will also learn how to use this information that now lives in our Zotero library to build a citation graph that will let us understand how the items in our library connect to one another, and also will help us discover relevant work that we might not be aware of. And we will also learn how to contribute missing information back to Wikidata. Yeah. So this is the plan for today. And now, before I go to the demonstration, I would like to ask Liam and Evelyn whether you can see any relevant question that I should stop for now.
Nope, all good so far. And we have a bunch
all
of
good
people.
or all good or bad and not understood. I don't know. We'll find out.
We'll find out. There are no
Hopefully.
questions currently, and there is a dozen people watching us live on YouTube right now. Obviously, many more in the future, and 17 people in the room in the workshop itself.
Amazing. Thank you very much. So I will start with a demonstration now. Sorry that I might be going a little fast, but I realized that 1 hour was not enough, so I'm trying to catch up with it. So with the demonstration, I will go to my Zotero now. So I will start with this collection, which has 20 items. Most of these items are journal articles, but this is just an example. You can also have books or book chapters. So I will start with this item here, which is this article by author last name Piscopo. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing this, from year 2017. And I will go to this citations tab, which is a tab that Cita adds. And I see that we have no citations for this item yet. So I will start just adding one citation manually. And this is going to be an example. So I'm just going to enter here a sample citation as a title. And we are going to have a sample author as an author name. This will have been published in 2021. So I save it and I have it here as a new citation. So I can work with Cita completely offline. I don't have to upload or download information from anywhere if I don't want to. But imagine that doing this manually, like adding every citation manually for every item in my library, would take a lot of work. And this is where I can use the information that is available in Wikidata. So I will just remove this sample citation. And the first step to get the citations that Wikidata has for this item is to know what node in the Wikidata network corresponds to this item, to this citing item on the left. So going here to, sorry, I have to move some things around. So going here to my slides again, sorry, just 1 second. I'm trying to place the cameras in a place I see them. For some reason, it's not working so well. Just 1 second, I'm sorry. There. Okay, so going back to this network, I would like to know which of these nodes corresponds to the citing item that I had on the left, the one that I'm working with. And yes, there is one node that corresponds to that item, and it's this one over here. So the first step would be I go back to my Zotero and I click down here where it says QID to get the QID for this item. Remember, the QID is the ID that each node in the Wikidata network has. So here I got the QID for the item. So now that I know what is the node that corresponds to this item in the Wikidata network, I can go here where it says more and click on Sync Citations with Wikidata to get the citations that Wikidata knows for this item. So in this case, it tells me that it found two citations. That means that is 2 references for this item in Wikidata. And if I click OK, it's going to download them and save them to the item. So here they are. We have these 2 citations. This icon over here says what kind of item it is. So this is a journal article. This is another journal article. This is a brief description of it, like the author names, the year when it was published, and the title. And if I click on it, I can also have the QID of that cited item. Okay. Now, as I was saying before, yes, Liam.
There is a question.
Yeah.
Can it get citations from Crossref directly?
No, right now, this is something that I would like to add in the future. Actually, if you go to more, there is an option that says get citations from Crossref, but this is not yet implemented. So right now you have to either get the citation from Crossref to Wikidata and get it from Wikidata, or add it manually. So as I was saying before, Wikidata as a bibliographic repository is incomplete. So if I open the document, the original document, I have it right here. This is the paper that we are working with, the citing item. If I go down to the references section, I will see that actually there are 37 references, and Wikidata only knows about 2 of them. So let's go and add one of them. Let's do this manually. So I will go here. This is the first one by Af. I'm gonna, make some zoom here. So this first one over here, I have it opened here. So give me just 1 second or a few seconds while I copy the metadata. Here's the title.
While you copy that metadata, there's a follow-up question. What about the open citation corpus?
It's the same thing than with Crossref. Yeah, these were things that I would love to have included, but I focused on Wikidata, and hopefully I will be able to, me or any other developer that might be interested in collaborating in the project, I hopefully will be able to add this in the future. So the publication name, and finally the date. Here we are, save. So this is the third citation. Well, actually the first one. Now I could stop here. Zotero now knows that this item has this third citation. But again, if I will take this work to manually add the citations that are missing, it would be amazing if I could contribute this information back to Wikidata. So the first step to upload this information to Wikidata is knowing if I have in Wikidata a node already for this cited item. So going back to my slides, the question is there a node in the Wikidata network that corresponds to this cited network? Cited item? And yes, there is. Oh, sorry. So this is the previous steps where I was just downloading the information from Wikidata, sorry. So yes, there is a node. It's this one over here that corresponds to the cited item that I'm trying to add as a citation. So Wikidata knows about the citing item. It knows about the cited item. What Wikidata doesn't know yet is the relationship between the two. And this is what I have added to my Zotero already. So back to Zotero, first step is get the QID for the cited item. I'm getting the QID for this item over here. So here it got the QID. And now that I know in Zotero the QID for the citing item and for the cited item, I can go over here again to the More menu and click on Sync Citations with Wikidata to upload the relationship. So here it tells me that if I continue, an entity in Wikidata, that is the citing item entity, will be updated with this new cites work relationship. I click OK. It's going to ask me for my Wikidata credentials. I can continue with this anonymously, but
Wikidata'ya şimdi bilgi aktarmayı anlatıyor.
Ne?
Sorry, could you please mute your microphone? I don't know who. Okay, thanks. So I will enter my credentials here. You can do this anonymously, but it's better if you use your credentials so that in case we see that maybe something is not being done the best way, maybe we can help you make it better. So it's always better to do this with your username and password. I'm entering these credentials here. I click OK. It's uploading the changes to Wikidata, and now the changes have been uploaded. I'm not going to go to the Wikidata item right now. I could do it by clicking here. If I did that, you would see that in the Wikidata item, this cites work relationship has been added. And I'm going to go with a second example right now. So let's go back to Zotero. Let's go back to the paper I was working. Add this second citation now. So I'm going to click add here. This is the item, the cited item in this case. I'm adding this title. So just bear with me for 1 second. I'm sorry. First author. Here is the second author. The publication, the journal name, and finally the publication date. Here we are. Okay, just as we did before. Here we have the new citation, not yet synced with Wikidata. So again, first thing, if I want to upload this information to Wikidata, I have to know if I have a node in Wikidata for this cited item. So I go back to my slides here. I want to know if one of these nodes corresponds to this cited item. And the answer is no. Wikidata doesn't have a node for that item yet. At least it didn't have one when I checked this morning. So we want to create a new node. We want to create this new node for that cited item. So I go back to Zotero. I go back to the citation editor, sorry. And I click here where it says get the QID. And it's going to tell us that this item could not be found in Wikidata. And it asks us if we want to continue creating a new item. I click OK. For those of you who know Wikidata already, you have two options here. You can either use quick statements. So this is going to copy the quick statements commands, and you will be able to paste them on quick statements. Or you can click here where it says create, so that Cita can create this new item automatically. I will follow that path. It warns me that if I continue, a new item in Wikidata is going to be created for this item. It tells me to please check the Wikidata notability policies just to make sure that this item does belong to Wikidata in fact. So I will click OK to continue. And once more, I will enter my credentials here. And if everything goes fine, a new Wikidata item will have been created. And this is the QID for the item that has just been created in Wikidata. So now that I have a QID for the citing item and for the cited item, I can go and upload the cites work relationship, just as we did with the other one. So again, I go to more, sync citations with Wikidata. It's going to let me know, it's going to tell me, sorry, that if I continue, a new cites work relationship will be added. I click OK. For the third time, I just enter my credentials here. And upload it. That means that, sorry, this cites work property has been added to this citing item in Wikidata. Liam, let me know.
We have another question.
Yeah, sure.
So the question is, if you manually add a citation, could it occur that multiple QIDs will match with that given info? That is, how does this system check for the uniqueness?
Sure, that's a very good question. It has, I mean, we can. There are many things that we can discuss about it, many technical things. I will try to make it as simple as possible. To make sure, I mean, because it's very important that we don't create duplicates, to make sure that the item exists in Wikidata. This is using the Wikidata reconciliation service. The Wikidata reconciliation service is using right now the title of the item and also any persistent identifiers that you might have in your Zotero. So first, it checks for the persistent identifiers like QID, sorry, DOI or ISBN. And then it checks for the title using two ways that Wikidata has for this. Both there is like the autocomplete API and the search API. This is more technical. We can discuss this if needed later on. In case there is more than one result, or in case there is a partial result, it's going to let us know. It's going to give us like some candidates that might be the item that you are looking for. If none of them is the item, you have the option to choose none to continue with creating the item. But we have this like several layers set up to make sure that no duplicates are created. And well, finally, sorry, before going into the demonstration, all these operations that I showed can be done in batch. So I showed them manually, item by item, like getting the QID first and then getting the citations. But if I select multiple items or if I click on a collection, I can right-click, go to the Cita submenu, and first step, fetch the QIDs for these items. This is going to fetch the QIDs. And now, for example, this operation is ready. So now for this item, I already have the QID down here, or for this item, I already have the QID down here. I've just got them. And now that I have the QID for my items, I right-click again, go to the Cita submenu, click on Sync Citations with Wikidata, and this is going to download the citations for these items. So here it tells me that if I continue, 15 local items will be updated with 138 citations that it got from Wikidata. I click OK. This is going to take some time because it has to fetch the citations metadata from Wikidata. Should be done in a couple seconds, hopefully done. This, I'm not going to go into detail about this, but this just tells me that some of the cited items are not supported by Zotero because they are of an item type that Zotero doesn't know of, so they couldn't be added. And now I see here that for this item, I got eight citations for this one. Well, Wikidata doesn't know any citation for this one. For this one, I had one, which is a book. For this one, I have one and another one, which is a journal article. And now that I have in my library a series of citations, and again, and this is important, it doesn't matter if I got them from Wikidata or if I entered them manually. Now that I have citations metadata in my library, I can select my items and I can go to the Cita submenu and click on Show Local Citation Network. This is going to show me a citation network for the items that I selected. But this is going to show me how they relate to one another through citations. So I click on it. Right here to the left is the list of items that I have selected. This is called in this window the input articles. Each of these line is a node here, a circular node. So the size of the node depends on the amount of incoming and outgoing citations that there are. And then I also have, as you can see, we also have some triangular nodes. These are called incoming suggestions. These are items that were not in the list of items that I selected, in these 20 items that I selected, but are highly popular among the items that I selected. That means, for example, this one over here, this paper by, sorry, I will not pronounce this name correctly, Krutsch, I guess, or something, published in 2007, has 3 citations in my, three items in my selected articles cite this work, but this work is not part of the selected articles, and probably I don't have it in my collection. So probably this is a work that is relevant in the field, which I was not aware of, and maybe I can just go click on it to open the page. In this case, it opens a Wikidata page, but if there wasn't a Wikidata page, it would open the journal page or whatever, and I can add it to my collection. So this would be the end of the demonstration. And now, yes, if we have some questions, and otherwise we can continue with the task for today.
No new questions.
Okay. Both in Zoom and YouTube, I guess. All right.
Both in Zoom and YouTube? No, we have
Amazing.
a question from Charlotte. Oh. Is there a time frame for implementing additional functions?
Interesting question. No, there isn't. I will talk about it. I will talk about it later on when I talk about the future of the project. But thanks, it's a very good question. All right, so I see we are 15 people, more or less. So we're gonna split up into breakout rooms, because I think it would be better if you want to discuss like questions that you might have with your partners. I think it would be good, and then we can discuss them all together here. So let me check my notes just to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Remember, in the email that I sent you, you have access to the presentation workshop page. In case you didn't get an email from me today or on Friday or yesterday, if you're just watching us on YouTube, you will have on the YouTube description, you have a link to the Cita page, which is this page I'm going to show here. And from the Cita page, you will go down here where it says presentation workshop, and you have the resources right here. So you click on here and you will go to the workshop page. In the workshop page, you have this during the workshop section, and you have this exercise with 4 items. So first we have preparation, then we have getting citations from Wikidata, then we have adding new citations that you didn't get from Wikidata and uploading them to Wikidata. And finally, we have this getting citation graphs section. So in the breakout rooms, you will follow these form sections with your personal collections. I will just stop now a little bit on the preparation stage because I haven't showed this and it is important. In the last few days, there have been some updates to Cita. So you have to make sure, step number 1, that you have the latest Cita version. This is how to do this is described right here, but I'm gonna just show it. You go here where it says tools, you go where it says add-ons, and you will have this gear here, this little gear. You click on it and you click where it says check for updates. That's gonna download the latest Cita version. And the people that are watching us on YouTube can try to do the exercise as well. In the meantime, they will just see a dark screen. We will be back in 15 minutes, I say. Liam.
Diego, we do have 2 questions for.
Yeah, sure.
Before we,
yeah.
Let's happen. So Cita places the QID in the extra field. Does this have to be empty? What happens to it if it was not empty when it?
That's a really good question.
That's question 1.
That respects Cita respects the information that is already in the extra field. So if there is information about something else, it just leaves it there. And if there is information about QID, so for example, recently the Wikidata translator for Zotero has been updated so that now if you get an item from Wikidata to Zotero, it also gets the QID. So Cita recognizes that the QID is there and uses it. So it's completely compatible with previous information in the Cita field, in the extra field. And the other question?
Yes, the other question is, can we use reference extraction scripts to get all references included in an article and then export into Cita rather than doing it manually? They give an example of a particular tool called reference-extraction, reference extraction at hera.com. I can put a link to that into the YouTube chat as well.
That's a really good question. In the original proposal for the WikiCite grant that helped me develop this, there was a plan to support automatic extraction within Cita using other services. Unfortunately, this couldn't be done in the end because time had to be allocated to other issues that were considered more priority. So right now, there is I would like to implement this in some future. And regarding the specific question, right now, if you use these services to get a list of citations, there is no way to import this as citations to Cita, but also this is something that I would like to implement someday. So if you go to citations here, you will see that in the more menu, there is an import citations from BibTeX option. Right now, this leads nowhere. This was also a suggestion by another person once. This is a great idea. I wish I had more time to implement all of this.
Thanks, Diego.
Okay, so we will split now. This is the first time that I do this, so please have me some patience. And if someone can help me, that would be amazing. Evelyn, do you have more experience doing this?
What do you want me to do?
I want to send the people to the split out rooms, to the breakout room.
Yeah.
Here. I have it. So I assign automatically. I will split this into 5 rooms, into 3 rooms, sorry. Okay, so create. There we are. I open the rooms and this is gonna send us. All right, cool. So I guess did you get like a window asking you whether you want to join? All right, cool. This seems to be working.
Yes, you can send a message to all, and everyone is in one of.
Yes, we have just
3 rooms.
We have just 3 people that haven't joined their rooms yet. And you, Liam, you can, if you want, you can join just feel free, or you can just stay here. I didn't say that I'm gonna go through the rooms in case there are questions.
I think you should.
Yeah, I will. I wanna send this to the rooms. I will.
And people on the YouTube channel will see nothing in particular for this time. They will see your screen.
Yeah.
Room 1 is asking for help, if you should go there.
Yeah, but the problem is that something broke in my, it's some configurations.
What happened?
Yeah, so I cannot hear them, and I can hear them perfectly fine here. I'll try to join again.
Okay,
there is a request for assistance from someone in room 1.
Okay, I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna be moving around. Thank you.
Yeah, so I cannot hear them, and I can hear them perfectly fine here. I'll try to join again.
Okay,
there is a request for assistance from someone in room 1.
Okay, I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna be moving around. Thank you.
I cannot hear them, and I can hear them perfectly.
Diego, you are muted. Diego, you are muted.
Here. Thanks. So I was saying that thank you, and we are waiting until everyone has come back from the breakout rooms. Supposedly everyone should be back in 15 seconds. Just one moment, please. Okay, so everyone seems to be back. So thank you very much, everyone, for trying the task. Again, I forgot to say that probably those 15 minutes were going to be enough to go through all of the tasks. Sorry for not clarifying that. Of course, you can continue trying after the workshop. Just one little thing that I know some of you have had trouble creating new entities in Wikidata. I will talk about this in just a moment. But now, yes, talking about the future of the project. This, as I said before, was developed with the help of a WikiCite grant from the Wikimedia Foundation. This WikiCite grant is ending today for me. Anyway, I will try and continue maintaining the project. I would really love to continue adding the enhancements and improvements that I would like to add, all of which are being tracked in the GitHub project, sorry, that is the source code repository. Right now, I will focus on maintenance and fixing bugs. But anyway, in the future, if there is interest that this continues being developed, I would really like to maybe try and see if maybe some institution would like to support some further development. I will talk about this in a minute. In the workshop page, we have this section down here, which is contributing, which is how you could help us continue having the project grow. So for example, the first thing would be if you, we would really appreciate it if you could help us sharing the project, that is sharing the tool and sharing this workshop. I have included here some hashtags that you could use in your social media networks if you'd like. Also some links or maybe also some examples, although I'm sure you will be able to come up with more creative ones. Also, you can contribute to translation. This project is being translated on Translate Wiki collaboratively, and it has been translated to already like 8 languages and is being translated to many, many more. So you can, if you see that your language is not supported, you can contribute your translations there, and they will definitely be included in the next version of Cita. Also, Cita doesn't have official documentation. Right now, the only documentation it has is this video that we are doing right now and the Spanish video we did last Friday. So that if you want to help us writing documentation on the Cita page, maybe using this video as a reference, that would be amazing. And now regarding bugs and maybe some suggestions that you might have, I would really appreciate it that if you find some bug or some issue, you go to the GitHub repository, which is this link here, and you follow the instructions down here to post a bug report. So for example, I know that some of you have had some trouble logging into Wikidata through Cita to create new entities. This is something, I mean, this was unexpected. We weren't having troubles with that, but it's really good that you noticed that, and it would be amazing if you could report these bugs. Just make sure that you have the latest Cita version when you are reporting these bugs, and also be aware that I am thinking of making some changes to the login flow so that you don't have to actually enter the login data, which implies some security concerns, but you can actually use something that is called OAuth, so that you would just give Cita permissions to act on your behalf. But anything that you find, any bugs, any suggestions that you might have, if you could take the time to report those, I would really appreciate that, so that I can take the time to look into them. And finally, if you are a developer yourself, you can also join as a contributor. Cita has been published with an open source and free and libre license. And in case you're not a developer or would like to contribute, making a donation so that the project can be maintained and can be improved, you can also find that at the Cita's repository. And before we go to the questions section, some acknowledgements. Again, I would like to thank the Wikimedia Foundation for the grant that let me do this. I would also like to thank the WikiCite project and all of the community which have supported the proposal from day zero, and they have given me lots of feedback, especially Liam Wyatt, who has helped me a lot to get to this stage, and also my friend Evelyn Heidel, also known as Scan, who's here also helping me today, and without whom I would have even started with this. Also, the Zotero team and all the developers around Zotero who have developed plugins in the past, who have helped me as a basis for this. Many of the things I've done are inspired in some of these plugins. The Translate Wiki community who helped translate this to different languages, and all the open source community without which I wouldn't have been able to do any of this either. These are where you can find me, my webpage, my Twitter handle, my email down here. And yes, we open to questions from everyone. Thanks.
Excellent, Diego. Thank you so much. We have a question from the audience in the workshop here. Metadata other than author, title, year, and citation also push to Wikidata when I create the new item?
Sorry, that's a question, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Is anything else beyond those metadata fields also sent to Wikidata if I create a new item?
Okay, interesting. The moment you create, I mean, this is some things might be a little bit technical, but it is important to understand that a Cita is just, sorry, Liam, could you either mute yourself or turn, okay, because I was hearing my voice through YouTube. So Cita, the only moment that Cita uploads metadata other than citations to Wikidata is the moment that you want to create a new item in Wikidata. That's the only moment that there is some exchange of metadata other than just citations. And that is because Cita is an extension for citations only. It's not an extension for other metadata. And yes, this is handled in the back, is handled through Zotcat, which is one of the people that I thanked in my acknowledgements was Philip Sunstein, who developed Zotcat, which is a Wikidata export translator. So all the fields that are supported by Zotcat are also supported by Cita, because after all, that's what it's being used behind scenes. So I'm not sure, sorry, I don't remember exactly everything, but that includes title, the authors, that includes published in, sorry, I don't remember everything. But yes, there are other metadata that is supported by this translator. You can check Zotcat if you want to make sure.
Thank you, Diego. We have no other questions currently on YouTube or in the workshop. Now is your chance, anyone. We do have two pieces of feedback, one in the workshop where someone said, great, thank you. And wow, was another one. And in the YouTube channel, we have the response, it is beautiful to see such a large collaboration.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And also, Charlotte had a question regarding time frame for improvements. I think I've answered part of that in Cita's future part, but yes, again, I would really like to be able to right now, I'm doing like a great effort not to take care of these issues right now. It's like I have to do other stuff, and I go like, okay, but just a moment, it's just this little bug here, or just this little issue here, just this little improvement. But of course, I have to do other stuff because I have other priorities right now, like jobs, I mean. So I will, as I said, I will try to maintain and fix bugs, that for sure. The rest, some of them might have to wait until maybe some institution would provide some support. But as I had a phone call with Charlotte some time ago, and as I told her, I tell everyone here, is if you think that there is an improvement, and again, you can see if one of these improvements have been thought of again already, if you go to the GitHub repository and you search there. if you think that one of those or one that you might think of is really, really important for your job, and just write to me. And maybe it's like, maybe it's very difficult, and and without help or without further time, I cannot get to it. But maybe that helps me accommodate like the priority list, because maybe for some reason, maybe this improvement is very important for me. But if somebody out there says, but look, this is very important for me because this and that, then maybe I can find the time to do it. It's like, but I really like to have this kind of exchange.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, this was supposed to end now in 3 minutes. I can stay if you have any kind of questions or comments. Just feel free to open your camera, your microphone. And if we don't have any, we can just call it a day.
I think I will turn off the recording and the YouTube streaming. If you could maybe put up on the screen the methods to contact you or the homepage,
Yeah.
And then we can continue with unrecorded conversation if there's any questions from the audience.
Yeah, so those are my data again. And yes, well, thank you very much again, Liam and Evelyn, for helping me today. And thank you all for being there today as well.
Final comment from the workshop. I know of no other add-on for Zotero. This is not a question, this is just a compliment for you. I know of no other add-on for Zotero that could pull citation lists, and the work that people do with this information is incredible. I can't thank you enough for pursuing this grant and getting this off the ground.
Okay, thank you. And also, thanks to that comment, I would also like to highlight, at least as far as I know, maybe there's something that I don't know, but about this specifically. But I think this is the first, with this, Zotero is becoming the first reference management software that has this support of references, incoming citations or references metadata. I know there are some add-ons for Zotero that provide some citations support to Zotero. As far as I know, that's relatively limited to number of citations or incoming citations, sorry, not outgoing citations. But I think this is also like a really good opportunity to promote Zotero even more, which is among the top used reference management software. Is the only open source we have.
All right, and on that note, I will turn off the recording and the live streaming.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank you. And well, if we